On September 29, 2019, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee, a potentially dangerous engagement unfolded due to their reckless actions. The incident began when the officers responded to a call regarding a package theft based on doorbell camera footage. The complainant, Mr. Aaron Branch's girlfriend's mother, alleged that a neighbor had taken a package from her porch. Upon arriving at the scene, Deputy James and Deputy Zhang engage with the witnesses, specifically Ms. Vernita Eccles, who identified the neighbor across the street as a suspect. She further mentioned that the neighbor might have a bench warrant for her arrest. Within minutes, the officers made their way across the street to confront the neighbor, seemingly without validating the claims made by the callers. Surprisingly, Deputy James immediately announced his intention to arrest the neighbor without properly investigating the situation. It was during this engagement that Mr. Branch, the original recorder of the incident, arrived on the scene while openly carrying a firearm on his hip. He questioned the officers about the package's ownership, leading to Deputy James ordering him to disarm for officer safety. However, Tennessee law permits citizens to bear arms for self-defense, and there's no requirement to disarm themselves around officers unless there's a legitimate safety concern.
Yeah. Okay, now that box that came off the front porch, did y'all see a name on that box by any chance?
We didn't get a chance to look at it because it was stolen before we got a chance to.
Now, if we show you guys what the box looked like, how you doing, sir? Are you an officer, sir?
Put your hands up, man.
I don't need to put my hands up.
This is for officer safety.
I don't need to put my hands up.
Put your hands up, dude.
The situation escalated as Deputy James unholstered his firearm, which Mr. Branch rightly challenged. This action was unnecessary and potentially dangerous escalation, as Mr. Branch was not displaying any behavior that indicated he posed a threat to the officers. Deputy James cited a state statute to justify his actions, but his interpretation was flawed considering the circumstances. Furthermore, the officers threatened to arrest Mr. Branch and his girlfriend for disorderly conduct, despite being on private property.
The proper procedures, you're supposed to ask if he has his handgun permit.
You don't know. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Hey,
yes, I do. We went to the class. Yes, I do.
I don't need to keep my hands up. I haven't committed a crime.
Yes, put your gun away.
I have
You
not
ask
For officer
to see
safety.
his- you ask to see his permit.
Ma'am.
Okay, can he just step in the house then?
No,
I need
you
that
ask
car.
to see- no.
We're not talking to you,
I'm
man.
in
No,
my
sir.
car right now.
You
We're
ask
not
to see
talking
his
to you right
permit.
now.
You ask to see-
We're not talking to you
we're
right
going in the
now.
house then.
I don't need to go in there. I haven't committed a crime.
You have a
I
permit.
haven't committed. I do have a
We're
crime.
not saying.
Where's your permit?
Amber, record Officer James. We're gonna make a start today. I'm gonna make a start at
Come
James
on.
today.
There's
I'm gonna make
no
you a
threat.
start, James. I'm gonna make
Let me
you
see
a
your
start
permit.
today.
Step
Okay,
away, man. We're
you're
not
right.
talking to you.
Okay.
Let me see your
Okay.
permit.
Okay.
Keep this arm up. Let me see your
I
permit.
don't need to keep anything. I can do whatever the
This is officer safety. No, sir.
Do whatever.
Calm down.
Bro, do what you do. Do your
Police
job.
officers
Do your
are-
job.
He got the permit.
Police officers are in your presence.
The First Amendment protects speech on private property, and the officer's threats infringed upon this right. Legal precedents underline the special protection for personal liberties within one's home. The officer's subsequent behavior with an unidentified woman, initially detained due to the reported theft, raises Fourth Amendment concerns. While reasonable suspicion justified her initial detention, the officers extended her handcuffed detention in a police cruiser even after she provided evidence that could have dispelled their suspicions. Courts have ruled that such extended detentions could transform investigative stops into arrest, violating the Fourth Amendment.
There it is.
That's not,
Okay.
that's not
You go
how
to law
law
school?
works.
You go
I did go to law school.
Okay, you passed the bar?
I did
So
pass
you're
the
a
bar.
lawyer.
I am a lawyer.
Okay.
I don't have to
Just
disarm
go in the
myself.
house.
That's not how the
Just
law
go in the
works.
house.
Come here.
I'm not
Come here.
going anywhere with
Come
you.
here.
Just go
I
in
have
the
not
house.
committed a crime. They know I haven't committed a crime.
Okay,
They know I have not
Amber.
committed a
We're trying
crime.
to
Amber, I want you to record them. I'm gonna make stars out of both of them.
ahead.
James and Zing. I'm gonna make big stars out of them. I love tyrants. I love tyrants like yourself.
Either
Property.
you step inside or you go to
I'm
jail.
a private. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
5, 4,
I'm not your child.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Child.
Aaron,
Child.
go on.
I'm not his child.
No, because
Bro, you're not scaring nobody with that fucking permit.
question over there.
You're not talking about.
Despite these issues, Mr. Branch managed to de-escalate the situation through assertive dialogue. He challenged the officers' actions while maintaining composure and asserting his rights. Eventually, the officers released the detained woman, but not without her being held for an excessive duration. Now, let's move on to the next investigation. In an incident that occurred on July 3, 2021, officers from the Elkhart Police Department were called to respond to a disturbance at a hotel in Elkhart, Indiana. The officers stopped 3 teenagers whom they believed to be responsible for the disturbance and demanded that they identify themselves. As tensions began to rise, one of the bystanders at the scene started recording the encounter.
Who I am. It doesn't matter.
Talking about us.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want you guys back here. And to verify that, I need your names so that if you do show up again, you can then go to jail. Okay?
So
what is your name? Before I put you all in handcuffs and take you all to jail. Okay. Then you're gonna.
I ain't going to jail.
What is your name?
Y'all ain't got no ride, man.
We do. We waiting.
Despite the potential escalation, the officers did not conduct a thorough investigation into the situation. According to best practices for police interactions, responding officers are expected to perform comprehensive preliminary investigations, including interviewing witnesses to accurately determine suspects. However, the officers in this case seemed uninterested in investigating further and instead continued to insist that the teenagers provide their identification.
Because we can't verify that you are the parent or guardian. We can't do that. So again, I'm going to ask again before you all go in. Does that make sense? What is your name? We can't just release it.
Let me talk to them. Let's talk about it.
But if they weren't part of the confusion, then I don't understand what's going on.
I told you multiple times.
The boys and bystanders maintained that they were not involved in the initial disturbance, but the officers did not seem willing to consider this possibility. The officers' conduct raised questions about their failure to follow proper investigation procedures, even though there is no legal obligation for police officers to conduct in-depth investigations.
You're not in trouble, man. But if you keep playing this game with us,
I want him to come out here before I say anything else.
They gone. They went out the back door. They went out the back door.
No, I'm talking about the manager that said that we was because he know it's not us.
No, it wasn't them.
Exactly. That's why I want him to come out here.
He doesn't want to come out here right now. Okay,
Man,
he has a job to do, which is
in
inside. No, because he doesn't want you inside. He doesn't want you on the
He
property.
don't know it.
The bystander recording the incident questioned the officer's authority to detain the teenagers based on Indiana's trespassing laws. He argued that since the teenagers had not refused to leave the property when asked, they could not be considered trespassing. The officer countered by citing Indiana trespassing law, which allows charges to be brought against individuals who knowingly or intentionally refuse to leave private property after being asked to do so by the property owner or their agent. However, legal precedent indicated that a police officer who is neither the property owner nor an agent of the owner cannot create a trespass violation merely by asking someone to leave and then arresting them for noncompliance. In this instance, the officers were acting in their capacity as police officers and not as agents of the property owner, so their detention of the teenagers on suspicion of trespassing seemed unjustified.
These are not them. Would you like to tell me?
We didn't have nothing to do with it.
Yes. No, they had nothing to do with it. All right, man, get my stand up.
The other dude come up the gun.
It was taller boys who are probably already all gone because they knew that you were coming. They don't want to
That's what
deal
I
with police.
until he come out here.
But when I walked in, he pointed to you gentlemen.
Man, that's
Right
all
now,
I want him
you
to
got
come
my-
out.
for nothing. You got my name for nothing.
He didn't want to come out. It wasn't that hard for him to come out here and clear it up. He trying to put it in here to take away
Sure,
jail.
because you're not cooperating.
You're not doing his
It's
job
easy
right.
for me to control the
Not doing his
situation.
job right.
I am doing my job right.
See, y'all don't know
What's your name, badge number?
He was talking about. They was in there talking about gunplay with this dude, man. That's
Sure,
what I said.
and
Y'all
when I
didn't have
got
nothing
here,
to do with it.
listen, when I got here,
Yeah.
he pointed to these gentlemen.
We told you it was
Okay.
the description that he gave.
I can't take your word for it when he pointed to you.
Furthermore, Indiana law does not have a stop and identify statute that mandates individuals to provide identification during criminal investigations. The statute requires individuals to provide identification to law enforcement officers, and that only applies when someone is stopped for an infraction or ordinance violation. This means that the officer's demand for identification lacked a legal basis.
He did. He pointed
He
to
was
you.
already in there,
He
bro.
pointed to
I
you.
don't want to hear
Okay.
your conversation.
That's
You
why
already in
Name
the
and badge
hole,
number,
bro.
please.
You trying to dig yourself out of the hole.
Is an Elkhart policy for you to identify yourself to the public?
My guess is they probably already left
Okay.
because they all probably have their licenses.
That's fine.
And they drove off because they didn't want to deal with you guys.
The situation escalated further when one officer claimed that the hotel manager had misidentified the teenagers as the perpetrators of the disturbance. Despite the assertion from the bystanders that the detained teenagers were not involved, the officers seemed unwilling to reconsider their actions. The bystanders and teens remained composed, and with the intervention of the bystanders, the officers were eventually compelled to release the teenagers. Now let's take a look at another investigation. In a notable incident on June 12, 2020, a confrontation between an Amazon delivery driver named Deja Murphy and property owner Keith Miller in Lowell, Indiana, has brought to light the complexities of enforcing laws on private property. The incident, originally reported by the Times of Northwest Indiana and discussed on Lackluster's channel, involves issues related to traffic laws, private property rights, criminal confinement, and police authority. The situation unfolded when Miller, convinced that Murphy was speeding on his property, employed his truck to block her exit.
Good luck, buddy.
No. Bottom line is, I need your ID.
Sure.
You're going to pull your truck in your driveway.
Yep.
I'm going to get her information. I'm going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
I'm going to get my wallet from my office.
Huh?
No,
you're not. You're going to just give me your name and information.
Oh, sure.
I'm going
You want me to write it down for you?
Yeah. I'm not spending all day with it. This is ridiculous.
I asked, and we have since put cameras up. I just said,
what's your last name?
Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
He proceeded to demand her identification, thereby initiating a tense standoff. Responding to Murphy's call, Officer John from the Lake County Sheriff's Department arrived at the scene. He clarified that he lacked jurisdiction to enforce speeding laws on private property, igniting a discourse on the distinction between public roads and private driveways. Indiana's legal framework underscores the limited jurisdiction of traffic laws on private property. State law specifies that highway regulations pertain to publicly maintained roads accessible for vehicular travel. In contrast, a private driveway, such as Miller's property, doesn't fall within this category. Therefore, Murphy's alleged speeding on the driveway couldn't be penalized as a traffic violation under Indiana law. However, exceptions do exist. In certain cases, police can enforce traffic rules on private property where the public's invited. This enforcement relies on local ordinances and agreements between property owners and law enforcement authorities. These provisions empower the police to regulate traffic and parking on private property under specific circumstances.
Thank you. So, pull forward.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
I need your license.
Okay. And may I ask my name?
Because you called the police, he called the
Okay.
police,
Just making
and
sure. That's
I'm
all I want
called
to
here.
know.
That's why I need your information. That's all the information I need. And he's upset because you were speeding.
But
I
y'all
told
was-
him he couldn't do what he's doing.
And
You're going to go on your way, and if you have any issues, you and your company can stop delivering here.
Okay.
How's that?
He came to my door. That's what bothered me. He came in my door, opened the door, told me to get the hell out my door.
While these local ordinances may not encompass the full scope of state traffic laws, they still grant authorities the capacity to uphold specific regulations. Miller's actions also raise questions about potential criminal charges. Officer Marshall suggested that his conduct might align with the crime of criminal confinement, defined as knowingly or intentionally restricting another person's liberty without consent.
That's harassment.
You know what? Let's stop.
Okay.
We're going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
It's harassment, though.
Everything's everything. You know what?
That's harassment.
There'll be a report on file.
While Murphy's situation didn't precisely match this definition, it highlighted the broader issue of maintaining public safety and individual rights on private property.
To the prosecutor's office?
This is Lake County?
Yes. We'll give you a case number.
Yeah, I want the case number, please.
It'll be on the report, sir.
What's your name?
It'll be on the report. It's Marshall.
Marshall? Okay.
And tell your friend on the phone,
That's
I'm
my
not
friend.
upset
That's
with you.
That's my brother.
You know what?
You know where everything's going on? That's the only reason why I'm
Everyone's fine. We're here. I don't need your brother telling me my job and what we need to do. I think you need to get a hold of your supervisor and tell him
Oh,
what...
no, we already talked.
Okay.
She was on the phone when all of this
Get hold of your supervisor. What's the phone number you have to reach that?
219-779.
The incident also touched on the concept of harassment. However, Indiana law defines harassment as involving communication with an intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person without legitimate communication. Because this definition doesn't cover in-person interactions, Miller's actions toward Murphy, while unsettling, might not fall within the legal definition of harassment. Fundamentally, the incident underscores the scope of police authority concerning private property and the need to strike a balance between individual rights and public welfare. Indiana's police power enables the state to enact reasonable restrictions on private property to ensure community safety, health, and morality. While the jurisdiction of traffic laws on private driveways remains limited, criminal violations, regardless of the location, can still lead to police intervention.
Law enforcement agencies serve as the guardians of justice, entrusted with protecting the innocent and maintaining order in society. Despite the good intentions of protecting the law, a shadowy underbelly appears, a hidden world populated by people who violate their pledge and dishonor the badge they wear. These dirty cops seriously jeopardize the foundation of a just and equitable society. What do you think should be the punishment for dirty cops? Watch the video to find out the shameful crimes these officers committed. The first incident is where Atlanta police fired one of their own and then released the officer's body camera footage, allegedly showing her mishandling $500 in cash from a homicide victim's wallet, officials said. Officer Keisha Richburg's body cam footage, released by the Atlanta Police Department, shows the alleged incident unfolding at the scene of a shooting on Marietta Road near the Inman Rail Yard. And Nur Green, 43, was arrested and booked for murder after he allegedly shot Harris in the head because of an argument, police said. Officer Keisha Richburg was at the scene of a shooting in northwest Atlanta when an EMT handed her the wallet of shooting victim Jamel Harris, 29, who later died at the hospital, authorities said. Body cam video showed the EMT, Kevin Getter, tucking cash into the wallet's fold and not into the main compartment where cash is usually placed, according to footage posted by the Atlanta Police Department on its YouTube channel. When she handles the wallet in her squad car, the cash cannot be seen in the slot where Gator allegedly had placed the money, the video shows. When Officer Richburg transfers the victim's wallet from her right hand to her left hand, it is readily apparent the money is no longer tucked inside the wallet. A police report on the incident reads, Getter confirmed to internal affairs investigators that he gave Richburg the wallet with cash inside. I'm about 90 sure it was money, because it was kind of like like money would be folded in half. And I can't imagine it being anything else, he said. Later in the video, Richburg is shown surrendering the wallet to another police officer at Grady Memorial Hospital. Tevin Gator told investigators the money was handed over by a bystander who told him the cash belonged to the victim. I shouldn't have been messing with it because it was a crime scene, but it was just habit from not leaving patients' monies and stuff. So I just picked it up and then realized what I did. So I handed it off to the officer, Getter told internal affairs investigators. Witness Leilani Collier said that she turned in the money to police after finding his wallet and informed Harris' wife of the cash. However, police allegedly told Harris' wife, who was pregnant with the couple's second child, that there was no money in the wallet. An Atlanta Police Department spokesperson said that Richburg did not properly account for the money according to the department's policies and procedures, and Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields fired Richburg. Officer integrity goes to the heart of what we do here every single day, Shields said in a statement. It's imperative the public have trust in our word and our actions. It's extremely disappointing to see the victim of a fatal shooting be victimized twice by the actions of one of our officers. But the Atlanta's police union disputes the department's claim and said Richburg is now in the appeals process that she hopes will reverse her termination. She didn't know money was in there, Vincent Champion, regional director for the International Brotherhood of Police Officers, told NBC News. The union rep insisted the video footage released by the department is inconclusive at best. They haven't proven that she had the money or took the money, Champion said. We don't feel the officer did that. Do you think Richburg is innocent or guilty? Let us know in the comments. The next incident is proof that social media is becoming a menace. TikTok user and police officer Brianna Strauss left netizens disappointed in the police force after speaking about her privileges. In a video, Strauss was seen reminding viewers that she can speed without getting in trouble, She also said that officers can find a reason to pull drivers over if they stay in front of them long enough. The video has led to a lengthy debate about police officers' entitlement, with people taking to Twitter to call her out. Brianna Strauss works with the Federal Way Police Department in Washington State. In the now viral video, she told viewers that the police are above and beyond the law and do not have the same rules as the citizen. This has led netizens to believe that Strauss was abusing her power after she became an authoritarian figure. If we're driving on the freeway in our police car, get the fuck out of our way. Get the fuck out of the way. If you merge and we follow behind you, and we merge too, you're probably in trouble. Best way to find that out is to get the fuck out of the way. I can go 90 miles an hour. You can't. You can't do that. So get the fuck out of the way. If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over, so you might as well get the fuck kick out of the way. The video, which has garnered massive traction on social media, has since been deleted from Brianna Strauss's profile. However, netizens were quick to screen record the video. The video found its way to Twitter as well, where it amassed over 3.5 million views and more than 52.7 thousand likes. Netizens were not pleased to hear the officer's comments, and many were disgusted by her tone and autarkic demeanor. Several internet reasons stated that her behavior of looking untouchable was a reason why they did not believe in the police system. The officer went on to receive a 10-hour suspension, which would mark it as one shift without pay. Additionally, when people learnt of Strauss's suspension of only 10 hours, they were left furious. Many called for the officer to be fired instead of being suspended for such a short duration of time. The Federal Way Police Department conducted an investigation into the video and looked into possible violations of standards. They also looked into the officer's previous disciplinary issues. Commander Kurt Schwann from Federal Way that the police officer did not have previous disciplinary issues. They went on to determine that Strauss broke the department's code of conduct when it came to their social media and personal conduct. Do you think that punishment was enough for the arrogant police officer? The next incident is of a Florida deputy who was caught for drunken driving. According to online booking records maintained by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, Shelby Coniglio, 26, was charged with one count of operating a vehicle while intoxicated with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or more. Florida law presumes someone is too impaired to drive at 0.8. Coniglio served as a constable in the Patrol Operations Department for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office from September 10, 2018. According to a press release from the Sheriff's Office, St. Petersburg Police stopped Coniglio about 1:37 a.m. at 108th Avenue North and 4th Street North in St. Petersburg. Police said Coniglio showed signs of impairment through slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, and she also struggled to remain steady on her feet, officers noted. Police also said she had an odor of alcohol on her breath. Officers said that Coniglio agreed to perform field sobriety tests, but performed poorly on them, and that she submitted to a breath sample, which indicated she had a blood alcohol concentration above the legal limit. Officers said Coniglio submitted a breath sample that indicated she had a breath alcohol content level of 206/219, according to the Sheriff's Office. Her blood alcohol level was also higher than the state limit of 0.8. Coniglio was arrested and booked into the Pinellas County Jail and was released on her own recognizance. However, per the Sheriff's Office policy, Coniglio's employment was immediately terminated following the arrest. What do you think is the best way to protect citizens from dirty cops like this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.